We're live. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to the morning show here on Stock Market TV. Spencer, JC, Alfonso. We got Steve back today. His power has recovered, so good to see. All right, what's on our minds? China up again this morning. So we'll talk about that. Talk about this Meta event from yesterday. Do you guys see the glasses? Kind of cool, honestly. We'll talk about that. Micron earnings last night. We'll talk about that. And actually, tech is the theme of the day. We'll talk a lot of tech today because our guest is Dan Ives. He's at Wedbush. He's their managing director of tech coverage there, and he's sell side, covers every major tech stock that you can think of. He covers it: Amazon, Apple, Uber, Palantir, Lyft, Meta. I missed a few, Tesla. So we'll talk tech with Dan Ives at 9. And we'll have Mary stop by for a few later on, and that's the plan. So, what up, chat? How we doing? We got Brett, we got Kenneth, we got Dawson, we got Peter, we got Mary, Yosul, Hot Pepper, Lazy Beats. Let's go, let's go, let's go. It's getting late.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, Steve. Strazza making it out alive from the hurricane. How bad was it?
It was nothing, again.
Standard operating procedure down in the Key West. Scare the hell out of everybody. Get everybody into the Home Depot. Buy everything, all the water, all the gasoline, and then big nothing burger?
I don't know if anybody was really scared, but yeah. It hit a little higher north than I think we were expecting.
Yeah. Pretty standard. All right. Big moves from China last night. FXI's up 8%, K-Web's up 10%, CQQQ's up double digits overnight, folks. Overnight, just to put things in perspective, just this week alone, China's up over 11%. So if my calculations are correct, check my math, that would be the equivalent of the Dow Jones Industrial Average being up almost 5,000 points this week. Think about that. And it's not like, oh, we're talking about Indonesia or like Chile or like something that doesn't matter, right? Like none of those countries matter. This is China. Like this is, say what you want, communist, the government lies about everything. You can't trust any numbers. You know what we can trust is price, right? We don't have to give the profits back just because it's a bunch of, the whole thing is a big charade over there in China. We don't have to give the profits back. This is the only thing that's real. The GDP stuff that they make up, they're literally making it up. They're lying to you. All of these numbers that the government puts out, they're fucking lying to you. The price of the stocks, on the other hand, is the truth. And they are ripping. Like I said, the equivalent of the Dow Jones Industrial Average being up 5,000 points this week. Strazza, we talked about this yesterday. Now it's not even relevant. Like we're talking about the breath thrust through yesterday. Now we're just off the charts. New records across the board. We've never seen anything like this, right?
We have. Don't you remember all the Sigmas from March 2022? We were in Miami.
This extreme?
Dude, K-Web was up 40% in a single day.
Okay. All right. I'll give you that one. That was a lot.
That's like when you look at any of the momentum thrust charts, like that kind of obviously really stands out, but this would be close to the largest besides that day. And if you do it on a weekly basis, then there might be something there. But it's
obviously that was a huge ripper across the board in China. You got a 50% rally, so that obviously kicked that off.
Well, there's a huge difference. I put this in the research chat. Maybe Fonz, you could pull it up. If you look at March of 2022, we saw this, incredible momentum thrust, and we ripped like 40% in a single day. We were coming off one of the most oversold levels of all time for China. We were coming off, for example, FXI, an RSI 14 reading of under 14. right? So extreme oversold levels. And then you get this, wild bounce and it fizzled out and it ended up being nothing. It was the beginning of nothing, right? Downtrend continued. This time, we're getting a massive momentum thrust. But the big difference is momentum has not been oversold for these stocks since January. They're coming from a place of resilience this time. It's not just some, major oversold bounce. There we go. Yeah. I think that matters. I really think that's different. But you could see, so this is not with today's data. Obviously, the market hasn't even opened today. This is the, really big surge we got 2 days ago.
Yeah.
But still, look at March 16th from 2022. I mean, that was a crazy day.
All right, love it. What do you say we get into the state of the markets? The U.S. markets. Huh? We got some things. Got some. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the Dow futures this morning up 200 points. That's another new all-time high for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, 42,500, a quarter of the way to 50,000 for the Dow. Folks, it's a bull market. Most important stock market index in the world is making new all-time highs. S&P 500 up 45 points this morning, 58 and a quarter. New all-time highs for the S&P 500. So if you're a Dow guy or S&P gal, doesn't matter. New all-time highs across the board. NASDAQ 100 futures up 300 points this morning, 300. That's 1.5% for the NASDAQ 100 futures, 20,500 for NASDAQ 100 futures. Bond futures muted this morning, down about 20 bips, 124 on the 30-year. Crude oil down over 2%, back down to 68. Copper up 2%, 460 for copper. Freeport McMoran ripping this morning on that China move. Gold, so I know we got that question. Why is Freeport McMoran moving? Look at China. Gold futures up again, new all-time highs, pushing $2,700 in gold. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about gold. I care, obviously. Nobody cares. It's fascinating. This thing makes new all-time highs every day. Nobody cares. Silver up 1.5%, 32.5. Making moves. Still a long way to go to get back to 50. And the volatility index back down to 15. Feels like it was at 65 just yesterday. Back down to 15. Boy, that was quick. Over in funny money land, we're looking at Bitcoin up 2% this morning. That's 1,300 points to the upside, 64,500. Ethereum up 2%, 2,600 and change, up 50 points this morning. Solana up 3%, 152. Binance still under 600, up 1% on the day. Total crypto market cap, Spencer Israel, 2.21 trillion, 2.21. With the Bitcoin dominance still above 57.5%. Bitcoin still the leader there.
I must confess, I was up for about 2 hours last night buying cryptos. I think it's go time here. Finally. I think the VWAP.
I got to see it. Could be. It's a bull market.
I'm seeing it. It. The alts are waking up. We added some exposure down the cap scale. Added back some Solana above VWAP.
And the question is, how do we decide? Why is Strazza buying cryptocurrencies here with China ripping, in a bull market? Why is that? We discussed a lot of this stuff last night in our first ever of our 12-week mastermind. Yesterday was week 1. I see down in the scroll. I love how we got this like ESPN thing down at the bottom with the scrolling ticker. That's cool. That's ticker tape. That's dope. I'm into it.
I mean, I think you're like me. We weigh intermarket a lot when it comes to buying cryptos, right? So I'm looking at this action in US tech stocks. I'm looking at the AI, bounce back. Micron just set the AI trade back on fire after hours last night. I'm looking at stuff like China. I'm looking at the riskiest stocks around the world, not just China, but other emerging market countries absolutely ripping. All of this stuff is so very risk on. We're on here talking about the most heavily shorted stocks, the worst stocks, the biggest cycle laggards, and how they're performing. And then I'm looking at Bitcoin and Solana, the two blue chip cryptos, reclaiming their big VWAP levels. And it's just really hard for me to think that in the environment that I just described, with all of this offensive action taking place, that Bitcoin and Solana are going to stay stuck in these ranges.
So if you're curious on how, on this process that Strazza is talking about, that we do here every single day, Spencer, if you could drop the link, that'd be great. Guys, we've never done anything like this ever in the history of All-Star charts. You know, this is what, 20 something years that I've been at this, learning from everybody, learning from my own experiences, still learning every single day. We got Dan Ives coming later today. I was learning from him last week in California when we were together, right? I'm sure we're going to be learning more now this afternoon or later this morning. You know, guys, I've given a lot of thought to this, what we're putting into this 12-week mastermind, who we're inviting, right? We have very special guests every week to weigh in on each of those topics. So guys, I highly encourage you, if you want to approach the market from a much more informed perspective, with more confidence. We've already gotten great feedback. The emails coming in last night, I mean, really, really nice email. So I appreciate you guys reaching out. Means a lot. So thank you. Click the link, join us. Fantastic. Can we talk about the glasses, Mr. Strazza? Let's talk about the glasses. We have the Meta making new all-time highest levels ever for the Meta. And I want a pair of these glasses. I'm not going to lie.
Why?
Spencer, please.
Why? Why do you want their glasses and not Apple's? You sound crazy. We have to ask Dan Ives about this.
Hold on. What is it that makes me crazy?
Why would you want Meta's glasses and not the Vision Pro?
Spencer, can you put the glasses up, please? Where's Spencer?
Nobody has any glasses. You bought glasses?
They're on slide 5.
A picture of glasses.
Yeah, there it is. So why do I not want the Vision Pro? The iPad that you tattoo to your face, right? Like the phone's too far away, so you gotta put it on your face.
Oh, stop!
That's a whole nother animal. This is just glasses.
It's gonna get so much better.
You could see them; they can see you. You could live in real life. Like that other stuff, you're just like a weirdo. Not that you're not a weirdo with these, but I would say you're a lesser of a weirdo.
Is this brand new? I've never seen this. This is
because it was announced yesterday. You were too busy YOLOing your crypto.
Really? I know they had their big meeting. I know they had their big event. But
Spencer, can you school this child on what happened yesterday?
Yeah. So Steve, these are like glasses that you can wear, and it overlays holograms on top of. So it's AR. It's augmented reality, right? So you see what you see with your eyes, but with like AR shit overlaid on top of it. So it is kind of like the future in that way. Not out yet. I don't think they announced the price, or I don't even know if they announced when they'd be available. Honestly,
watch the videos, Strazza. Go on YouTube when we're done here. Go on YouTube and watch the videos. It's pretty freaking cool.
Really?
Yeah. It is cool. It is cool. Every iteration of glasses is getting better. Like, you guys remember Google Glass and how awful that was?
Yeah.
Those looked terrible. These at least look good, mostly.
Yeah, but so I can like browse the internet and stuff, or I can just go on Facebook.
Not only can you browse the internet, you could pull up multiple monitors.
Right, but you could do it with the Vision Pro. That's the whole big deal. So it's the same idea.
As the Vision Pro, you have a giant iPad stuck on your face. These are glasses.
These are glasses that you can wear. So
I'm open to it, but I just, my mind will be blown if Facebook can do this well.
Why?
I don't know. It looked pretty cool.
This is a different place for them. They build websites. They build social media.
Oh, do they? How come this stock is making new all-time highs and none of the other Mag 7s are?
Well, there's one company, Apple, that's famous for building all of the best hardware that we've ever had in our life. And then there's another company that's never successfully built any hardware. So you're basically all telling me that I should make the bet that the company that's never built technology hardware successfully, that they're going to make the better glasses than the company.
First of all, nobody's telling you to make any bet. Nobody's telling you to make any bet. I'm just telling you that this is cool and I want to buy it. That's it. Nobody's saying that the Apple's not going to come out with something better. I'd be surprised if they didn't, but they haven't.
You know, you could spend a lot less money to walk around looking like fucking Buddy Holly.
I don't think it's going to be that expensive. The Vision Pro's like $3,000, $4,000, right?
Ravi says the translucent ones are going to be at $450. So
that's not bad. By the way, Strazza, the Vision Pro, number one, it's expensive as shit. Number two, it's super heavy. Like, it's really heavy on your head. Nobody wants to wear that. Number one, you look like an idiot. Number two, it's heavy as shit. This is less than 100 grams. I don't know how heavy a gram is, but I do know it's less than 100 grams.
You go to an Apple store too, and there's a line out the door to demo the Vision Pro. It's still crazy.
Yeah, fine, but it's too heavy. I'm not going to do it. My neck is too important to me.
You know that the next one is going to be super light, though.
I don't know anything. I know that this one looks dope. Can we go to the chart, please? Because this is the only thing that actually matters. If you don't mind, Mr. Spencer Israel, do you have that here handy?
Yes, we do.
I think I just where did I put it? Oh, there it is. Look at that. Come on now. Come on. Look at this. Are you not entertained?
It's fantastic.
Are you not
It's so
entertained?
good. I am entertained.
There's no wires, right? No wires. There's no it's less than 100 grams. Right? I don't know how much a gram is. Anybody any chemistry majors out there? I'm supposed to know these things. We're harvesting our grapes on Monday. I'm supposed to know like all of these kind of things. Oh, 28 grams is 1 ounce. So that would be approximately 3 ounces and change. That ain't bad, Strazza. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
That's not bad at all.
What a comeback story this has been for Mark Zuckerberg and Meta.
Yo,
Really.
seriously, now he's got like the curly hair. He's all jacked. He's doing cool things.
He's cool now.
Did you hear he turned into a Republican now?
Yeah, his stock's up 7x now. Now he votes for Republicans and
now he's a Republican.
Yeah.
He's got like this whole team to help him be a more hardcore Republican. Like it's ridiculous. Yeah. You can't even make this shit up.
I read a thread on Twitter, and this has been like a very, and look, I'm not like, this is great, good for him, good job, but it's very concerted effort. Like he hired a marketing firm and like redid his image. Like it's a very intentional effort. And it's working out there. He's on the
I was going to say, I don't know what he's doing, but it's working. Whatever's going on over there, Zuck, shout out to the Zuck. Whatever's happening over there, good for you.
He can't fool me. He can't fool me.
We doesn't have to fool you. He fooled everybody else. That's what matters.
We all know.
There's no, unfortunately, Dawson, there's no such thing as libertarians anymore.
Can we just talk about, I'm getting questions about my Rabbit R1. I do have the Rabbit R1, and it is not very good. However, I'm about to get a massive download where it's like a huge upgrade that I'm about to get on my Rabbit R1. And the argument, Strazza, and this is something I wanted to ask you about. The argument of the Rabbit R1 could just all be on an app. Why do we need this extra device, right?
Yeah.
And the reason that the CEO of Rabbit R1, granted he's talking his book, but I thought that was a valid point, is that Apple or Google will never allow an app on its platform that's going to be better than Siri or whatever Google uses, right? So that barrier of entry is the problem. I'd love to ask Dan Ives about that, see if he has any thoughts. What do you think about that?
That sounds right. This is what Apple does. It's what they've been doing.
Should I go grab it quick? Should I go grab my R1? You guys want to see it?
Yeah, let's see.
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
All right.
Spencer, I hope you have a list of these things. I'm going to forget once we have Dan on the show, but we should ask about all that stuff, antitrust.
Yeah.
These headsets, right?
I don't know. I gotta give all the credit in the world, man. You said this company makes websites. No, they used to make websites. Now they make hardware, man. Now they make consumer goods.
What do they make?
They make these glasses. They make they have the Oculus, or the Quest, whatever, the Quest, right?
Wasn't that a major flop? The Quest.
Well, they unveiled a new one yesterday, so apparently not.
I don't think you've ever had a successful hardware. That's so small. What are you doing?
Wait,
this is Tamagotchi.
This is the R1. This is the Rabbit R1.
Yeah, but what does it
AI
do?
Device.
What does it do?
Does it talk to you?
Yeah, you can play music. It'll book a plane flight for you. It's out of battery. I got to charge it. But this is it. See, pretty cool, right? So it's not very good. But I'm about to get like some kind of download from the cloud or something where it's about to get a lot better, is my understanding. I guess we'll see. But you got to play with the toys. So JC, why do you want these glasses? Because you got to play with the toys. I don't want to play with the Vision Pro because it's too heavy on my neck. Too heavy. I'll pay the $3,000 or $4,000 or whatever it is. That's not the issue. But everybody, the smart people I talk to say too heavy. I want to hear from Dan Ives and hear what he has to say on that.
Well, before we hear from Dan, let's hear from Kenny.
Please.
How about that?
And I would love to just do Micron quick and get that out of the way before the interview.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming. They ain't come from my club, they tell it. Putting up
Jefferson.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. How you guys?
It's a bull
Great.
market. I don't know if you heard.
Stacking silver for years, baby, and stacking Qs and stacking Chinese stocks.
Is that your coin thing? Is that where you put your coins?
Yeah, this is your standard coin. Yeah, coin holders. These are the peace, beautiful remake of the peace dollars. Beautiful
And
stuff.
is this one
yeah.
of those things where like you pay extra for the coin, even though if you melt it, it's worth less than actual silver?
Those you don't, because those are remakes. The Eagles you pay a lot extra. But yeah,
So you're
there's a
smart.
whole. We could go down. We could go have this conversation for days. But
I've always wondered, like this Trump thing, right? The Trump coin, you got to pay like $100 for something that's worth 30 or something like that. Like what is that all about? Who's gonna do that?
Yeah, nobody. Oh, then again, people will buy anything with Trump on it, but yeah, not me. I buy stuff with bulls and bears on it, but you put a bull or a bear on something silver, I'll buy it. Look at it, Bill. There you go, silver. Gold.
See, all right. So you're a schmuck for some things, but not everything. So sometimes, somehow they'll get you.
They don't tack on. They only tack on like a $2 for that.
Oh, that's
instead
not
of like
bad. That's not
Instead of
bad.
an $80 target, like a going to a concert nowadays.
You know, I was thinking about picking up the Mark Jackson basketball card with the Menendez brothers sitting right behind him. $600.
Yes. And if you like that card, I got the Billy Ripken bat card for you.
Me too. Me too. I got that one too. Nice. All right. So listen, China's ripping this morning. Micron is ripping this morning. What are you putting on a Micron trade here?
I got to tell you something. Listen, what we do in the room, again, I'm 4 hours of talking, so it's not going to be only about day trading. And, again, there's no doubt Big Al, my dad, has crushed me over the lifetime of trading because he's a buy and holder. He buys the dips. He invented buying on dips. He was buying the dips on August 5th while I was crying for my life. He was like, don't worry, son, I got you. He bought the Qs. So just like the other day when I was saying, you know what? I really don't like these Chinese stocks, but you got to buy them right now because they're coming out of massive 2-year downtrends, and maybe you want to hold on to them. Now, this is where I have to separate myself. I'm not doing it, which should be the golden buzzer, if you will, of opportunities, because if I'm not buying it, you should buy it twice as much as you were going to buy it in the first place, because I'm doing you a service. I'm giving you the unbiased idea, not talking my book, not talking about something I own. Here it is. Everything I know about the market, you want to be in these names right now. And look at this follow through, my friends.
Yeah, this is the definition of follow through.
Yes. I heard Tepper had something to do with it too. He's got their back too. He came on all angry, something. I didn't hear it, so I can't quote him, but I like when he comes on because he's not a friendly guy, and they try to make him into a friendly guy. He's not friendly.
I don't know about that. I've hung out with him before. He's a cool dude. No?
Oh, listen, I've been in a presence once. I mean, he didn't bite my head off, but yeah, I mean, he's got some reputation. But it looked like they were trying to make him say something, and he was like, "I don't give a shit, I just like it." And I like his attitude. But anyway,
Tepper's funny.
Yeah.
We were having drinks once, and Josh Brown was sitting there, and he's like, Josh was trying to like pretend to be all cool, right? We're in Vegas, and Josh is like, Tepper, what do you want to drink? You want me to make you show off my bartending skills? What do you got? And Tepper just looks at him. He's got like a dime sitting right next to him, and he's like, Josh, why don't you shut the fuck up and pass me one of those beers? I was like, this guy's the man, He had like some like art salesman that was like whoring herself out, so he'd buy some art from her or something like that. She was a smoke show. Vegas stuff, standard operating procedure.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I was sitting in Tepper's seats for the Super Bowl. Those are the tickets I got last year.
So, Kenny, you just saw him on CNBC, right?
I only caught the end of it. Something China. Yeah.
They asked him, "What are you buying in China?" David Tepper said, "Everything."
Is that what he just said?
He's
got my memo from 2 days ago, and here's the weird coincidence. The last time I was liking Alibaba, Tepper was involved last time also when it was coming out of the $80. The sort of the failed IPO. It didn't really do well right away. Dipped down to that 50, then turned and broke 80. That was the real move. So if Tepper's involved, he nailed it the last time, and I heard he knows what he's doing. So,
I think he's the hedge fund guy who came on in 2020, mid-late 2020, and said buy everything in regards to the U.S. stock market. Maybe the chat can check, but I remember. You remember that, JC?
Can you throw up, guys? Can you throw up that Micron chart?
Well, what I like about Tepper's call was he got you into Baba, and then he was telling you it's time to get the hell out of the stock because there's something wrong, and he nailed that.
This thing's up 17% this morning. 17%. That's $17 billion of market capitalization overnight.
Yeah.
This is a double beat, double hike, right? So
Double beat, double hike.
big beat on the top, big beat on the bottom, and then they raised the upper ends of their guidance for both EPS and revenue. And the whole AI trade is loving it today.
All right. Now, more importantly, what's Rambus going to do? The bastard stepchild of Micron technology.
Is that how it is? Is that how you
Really?
would describe Rambus? The bastard
yes.
stepchild?
And he got put back in the GIMP box. Rambus did over the last 6 months. So I don't know. We were on our way to $80 on Rambus, and that has been an epic fail. That's the one stock I own. Give it up for me in long-term stock ownership for the past few years.
Kenny, it looks like one of these failed tops, and a lot of these semiconductors, like Micron's doing it right now, they're failing patterns that look like this. So maybe you get a scoop and a save.
Yeah, hopefully this is it. This was my entry. I'm long from 37.50 from 2 years ago. I thought I would be cashing out of this thing at 120 by now, but still, I have hope.
And
what else is moving this morning other than China and Micron? What's on your radar?
Well, the Qs are now above that breakout price. So 384.43 was massive. We flirted with it a couple of times, and now we're above it. So this is really important for the Qs because now we got above. After we crashed on the August 5th, we made basically it all back. We got back up to the the late July highs. Now we're above that. So anything above 490. We're in the shoulders of the highs of the year. We might be looking at another 10 points, flirting with those all-time highs on the QQQ, maybe sooner than you thought. So again, September, not scary at all, right? I think we went up every day. So this market is just unbelievable. And, I'm just going to watch these Qs because if they hold here, we build and we go. So I'm excited.
I agree. Definitely. I like where your head is at in tech. The rotation has come in. You're seeing consumer discretionary. If Tesla closes tomorrow right here, that's another 52-week high for Tesla. Things are moving. If you want to be in Kenny's room, join Kenny. Link in the chat. Good luck, Kenny. Go get him, buddy.
4 hours of awesomeness. I'll see you guys later. Good luck.
4 hours of awesomeness. Nice.
So I want to talk about these failed tops real quick because we were pounding the table about these back in July, and they were tops. They were tops for a long time, and now that damage was slowly and now all at once repaired. Zoom out first. Let's just big picture this for Micron. This is one of the best bases we have this whole cycle. These things take time. They fail. They shake you around. You're getting that with Micron. Looked like the base was failing back into the box, past few weeks. Now up, 15, 20% here pre-market on earnings. And the chart looks great again, right? So this is just some zoom out for context. I think this one has, some big profit potential in the future. When you zoom in, though, it's been a rough summer and now September for Micron. Down, 40-something%? Actually, a lot more than that. The drawdowns for some of these semiconductor names were absolutely huge. I got a VWAP from the October lows last year, a VWAP from the Q2 highs this year. And then that green circle on the right-hand side of the chart is where we are now pre-market. So reclaiming all these big levels, you could draw the top in a couple different ways. That's why I have two little necklines drawn here. Back above both of those horizontal support zones. Back above any key VWAP you can drop on this chart. Bulls back in control. Micron back to one of the AI leaders. Boy, does it happen fast.
Yeah. Speaking of AI, do we have Dan Ives waiting for us?
We do.
Please bring him on. Let's talk. This is great.
Bring him out.
Yo, Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
Dan.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. Good seeing you last week in California. Wasn't that
great.
Fun?
Awesome. So good seeing you and everyone.
Is he frozen or is that just me? Dan, is he in?
No, he's good, man. That's you.
He's good.
No,
Okay,
that
great.
was that was AI. man.
It's the AI's fault, right?
Yeah, that was AI. Yeah.
Listen, Dan, I got a couple of things for you. First of all, one thing that stood out last week in our conversation, we were just sitting there on the beach, just talking, and somehow we get into technology and AI. I can't imagine why. One thing you said to me that stood out was just how dominant the United States of America is in AI. Just complete monopoly in the AI space. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, look, for the first time in 30 years, U.S. is ahead of China, way ahead. And, as someone like myself, we're in Asia all the time. It's clear the balance of power that's changed because of NVIDIA, Microsoft, OpenAI, hyperscalers, chip players. Now, you could argue, where's the manufacturing done? Taiwan, China. It goes back to that sort of we need them, they need us. But there's not even a debate, and it's part of why I believe this tech bull market, especially in the U.S., continues to rage next few years.
Are they going to bring that manufacturing to the U.S.? Are they like gradually trying to accomplish that? It seems.
I mean, there's a better chance of me playing in Alabama, Georgia this weekend
Are they trying to
than
get
that happen, because the reality is, it would take a decade to move 10% of the supply chain.
And
I always tell people, like, if you want iPhones made in New Jersey and you want them $4,000 and not made well, then
Right.
we should do them here.
Okay.
So that's why the reality is like you'll have some fabs coming in terms of like with TSMC,
Yep.
look at Intel, tax incentives. I think there will be some that will slowly come here. But the reality is the supply chain is cemented in Asia.
And is that just going to be then like some sort of geopolitical supply chain risk forever?
Forever. I mean, it'll be like 20 years from now.
Mhm.
Your Dow will be 60K and be like, but this could be it with the geopolitical. I mean, the thing is, I've thought it for 20 years, right?
Yep.
Always about the risk. And you'll have some diversified into India and some other areas. But look, it's someone like myself that visits fabs and you see things, you just cannot replicate it.
Right.
Now, there will be pieces that could be replicated. But anyone that thinks the supply chain could come here, then they've had a lot of Whispering Angel or whiskey.
Haha, nice.
We can't find people to work at McDonald's where I live, so I don't know how we would outfit a factory full of workers to make cell phones.
Well, no, but the problem, to your point, Steve, it's like it's also about the engineering talent.
Yeah, right.
What you need from an innovation perspective, you need supply chain, you need other chip players and other fab next to those factories. So
yeah. There's a whole network. So, Dan, back to the point that JC just asked you about. Does the government view this technology as a weapon, and how intentional is it that 100% of this stuff is being done in the United States? And is that something that the government and regulators are going to try to protect and keep that way?
Well, it's almost the opposite if you really actually think about it. I mean, they're trying to break up big tech. Big tech's the bad. They have the bullseye in their back. Yet I'd argue in the United States, probably our biggest asset is big tech. I mean, you could debate, so
the fact that the United States has all those companies here in and of itself is part of the defense.
Of course. And that's why now you could talk about like restrictions, what we see with China, and we've been able to sort of like have that balancing act here. And then go into the elections, Trump's much more what I'll call like anti-China. You call that like an anti-AI trade or a negative AI trade. So there'd be some risk there. But the reality is, look, this is $1 trillion of AI capex coming to tech. And, for those, as I covered tech stocks back in the bubble burst, anytime, every day, right? It's like, oh, it's another bubble. No, I mean, the tech stocks are trading 30 times revenues. They're trading at 30. I mean, if NVIDIA does $5, 30 times earnings, 150. And back then it was telecommunication, upside down business models, leverage startups. who's funding it now? Big tech, 1.2 trillion on the balance sheet, generating another 400 to 500 billion a year. And when I saw JC coming out of Asia, demand oversupply is 15-1 now.
Do you want to just say a little bit more about valuations in the tech and growth space and like how the best stocks, like these AI leaders, are
Hold on.
valued?
I got a hop, Dan, and I wanted to ask you a big question before I left. Do you have one of these?
Yeah. It's a Tamagotchi.
A Rabbit R1? Do you have one of these? So this is one of these AI devices, and that could easily be in an app, right?
Yep.
You know, you talk to it, it books flights for
Yeah,
you,
I've
the
seen
whole
it,
thing.
yeah.
It's, you know, plays music, all that stuff. The CEO's argument as to why this can't be an app is because Apple and Google would never allow something that's better than their own, than like a Siri or something like that. So it has to be a separate device. Do you buy that? Do you think that he's full of shit and that's just a marketing scheme, or is that for real?
I mean, there's probably half. I mean, I think there's valids of truth. Look, the reality is like Apple has the castle, 2.2 billion iOS devices, 1.5 billion iPhones. Everything comes through them. If it doesn't, you're the outside of the castle, outside of the gates. So, you know, now in terms of like, a lot of times there could be better products. 3 years later, they're not, because big tech has ultimately overrun it.
Yeah. So this is a zero.
No, I'm not saying zero. What I'm saying is that the reality is with big tech, you either join them or you go against them. When you go against them, it's a graveyard of companies that have kind of gone down that path.
Got it. You're saying in a nice way it's a zero. I see you. I see you, Dan.
I'm just saying like there's a lot of good technologies, but you need distribution. And I think it's no different than why OpenAI even partnered with Apple. Because the point is like if you big tech, the strong get stronger. Yep. And I continue to believe the best opportunities are on the software app side rather than on the standalone device.
I'm glad you brought that up because I want to hear about Palantir. I'm going to hop. So, Steve, take it from here. Palantir valuations. That's what I want to hear about. Thank you, Dan, for being here. Good seeing you last week. Love you, my man.
See you, man.
So we could stick to the antitrust. Was it obvious to you once the AI stuff started happening? I guess it was really the big aha moment was like May of last year with NVIDIA's first report, like they're really selling these things. What were you telling people back then about who the AI winners would be? Was it obvious then that it was going to be?
It was NVIDIA. Yeah.
Right.
Starting in like late 22.
Yeah.
It was clear to us. Now remember 22. Dude, that was like, I mean, two of our worst years in 25 years is 2008, 2022. You just because macro, no matter what happened in tech, because of interest rates and Fed. But it was like, it was clear to us in 22, like, we'll bet our career again that this AI revolution is real. And no matter where we went, we're like, NVIDIA, Microsoft, that's it. Like, you know, like that, to me, that was like some of the most, like no brainer, but some of the most like table pounding moments that I've ever experienced was from like late 22 to like mid 23. Just being like, because it was clear to us where it was going. I'm not saying, look, we've been wrong plenty of times. I'm just saying, in terms of Godfather of AI, Jensen, and what NVIDIA was doing, and once Microsoft bought the half part of OpenAI, I mean, like, look, man, I remember like when Microsoft bought OpenAI, half that 50%, we put out like a quick note, like AI revolution, it's here, it's a game changer. Do probably like dozens and dozens of oh man, this will age well. Let's see us in 6 months. 10 billion for nothing. Can't. But it just goes back to like the bears sound smart, and so many of them are. But I think a lot of times they get just stuck in like valuation, black swan events, and that's why a lot of times bulls make money.
Well, for me, it was kind of basic. It was simple math. It was like, okay, so who are the companies that are going to win in AI? Well, to outfit, these efforts, it's going to be incredibly expensive. Just looking at the sticker price for these NVIDIA chips. Okay, who has the tech wherewithal? A handful of companies. And who has the cash? to pay for this and take these big swings. There's a handful of guys. But
And
nobody
you bet,
wanted to
and you
know.
look at the use case, and you understood, like when you talk to software developers and AI developers back in 22, and you started to realize what these GPU chips were really going to enable.
Yeah.
And you understood what Altman and OpenAI were doing. The key moment, once Microsoft did the partnership or strategic partnership with OpenAI, that was it. And it was like that was the game changer.
Yeah.
But I mean, in my view, it's the multiplier. For every dollar spent on a video chip, we think there's an $8-10 multiplier across tech.
What is the multiplier for AI?
For every dollar spent on a video chip,
Yeah.
8 to 10 multiplier for what's going to be spent across software, data center,
that's incredible.
services, and Steven spend. That's why, to me, when I talk about like AI revolution, okay, like that trade was NVIDIA and Microsoft, and I believe those continue to be, $4 trillion market caps in next year. But I actually think the big winners, where the alpha is going to be, identifying the second, third, fourth derivatives now.
Yep.
Obviously, Palantir has been a huge one the last 3 months on the use case. ServiceNow, I could argue Salesforce. There's a ton of other play. You could argue on the utilities and the energy side, third, fourth derivative.
How about those? The power companies. I mean, the Constellation Energy, VST, incredible.
Those are gonna be, because it all can. I mean, the amount of power we're gonna need is 15x. Then today, and when you think about all the data centers being spun up,
right?
And my whole, like, you asked about valuation and stuff. Look, everyone knows, like, I've never been like a core like DCF valuation historical type guy. That's just not my thing. My thing is basically like identify the disruptive themes and the winners, whether it's Tesla, Apple, Amazon, Google. And my argument is that some of the parts, no different than what we've seen play out with a lot of these names, is ultimately the way to value them rather than just a straight PE multiple.
It's because, Dan, talk about it. In cycles like this, we're going to hit a euphoria stage. Things are going to get crazy. We have no idea how the market will value these things at the top, right?
It's 95, 96. In other words, it's not 99 bubble. And it goes back to like, these are companies that are like profitable, disciplined, and you have no idea about the monetization. When you look at Meta and make an all-time high, because I think institutional investors are going like a year or two out being like, what's the monetization of this install base?
Right. So everybody says back during the .com, these companies literally weren't even profitable. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm sure
they weren't. I mean, I could show you the average we're trading 30 times revenues. 5% of them were profitable, and they were getting funded by .com startups, VC funded. Here, this is true CapEx, and just comes down. Big tech companies have 1.2 trillion on the balance sheet, and they're generating another 400 to 500 billion in free cash flow. Take any black swan event on Twitter Sunday morning 4 a.m. that someone puts out. It
doesn't matter.
I just don't. I mean, look, it was big conversation at Future Proof last week because people will be like, "Oh, what about China, Taiwan?" I'm like, yeah, man, you could like keep going down every black swan event and enjoy it.
Yeah,
I get it, but in terms of where we are, this is a true fourth industrial revolution playing out. It just happens that we're living in it.
I love that. That's so awesome. And when you put these numbers behind, talk about the multiplier effect, and then also even talk about the valuation differences today versus the .com bubble. NVIDIA has been reporting earnings at least a couple quarters last year and earlier this year, and the stock gets cheaper after.
You went from $1 of earnings to $5 of earnings. Forget split it apples to apples. Like you go back to last $1 to $5. And I think that's the one thing is that, you could show the Cisco 99 chart and NVIDIA and print it out and do every graph, known to, that's cool. But you cannot compare the two.
Yeah.
But Steve, I like how many are still bearish. I love how sentiment's but it goes back to like Apple launch 07 being iPhone launch. We come out being like, this is the This would change the consumer forever.
First iPhone launch.
And then in 08, everyone's like, dude, great call, financial crisis. This is the next BlackBerry, Nokia. It was a one cycle thing with AT&T.
Right.
Tesla, you try and make calls like, dude, EVs, like I'm going back to Musk like 10 years ago, like you're gonna be driving like one of every 5 cars is gonna be a Tesla. Like that, there's no way you can even make a profit on EV. We have Robotaxi Day in 2 weeks. I'm just trying to explain, like, when you go through periods like this, there's just too tight, right? It's like it's just a tight view.
That's also a good argument as to how in the short term the macro environment can rule, right? So if the iPhone came out in 2007, great timing, guys, right? It's not Apple's fault that stock got hammered, but it did, right?
Oh my god! So you know how many times there were like, you can't own tech stocks because Greece is going to default and the EU's done, and investors are like peeled to like protest in front of like the Greek parliament, but yet look what tech stocks did. All I'm saying is like, I'm not saying to be like tunnel vision, but I remember like when I was going to Japan, like 5-6 weeks, and like we're on our way there. Buffett sells half of his stock on a Saturday for Apple. People freaking. Market was already shaky. We land in Tokyo. Dude, Nikkei's down like 10%. I'm like, so I just happened to be there on Tokyo Black Monday. And everyone's like, this is it, that. I'm like, dude, it's not. Like, it's basically this like derivative yen currency carry trade.
Yeah,
like,
right.
It's not, this is not a moment like that. But I think we're going to just hit those points as this, like, I just continue to believe, like, as numbers move higher, Fed's just going to cut whatever, 100, 150 bips. China is doing everything from a stimulus perspective, whatever. Yeah. It's 9 p.m. in the AI party that goes to 4 a.m. That's our view.
Dan, I think a few weeks ago, you wrote a note about this being maybe the greatest upgrade cycle for Apple ever. Yeah. Can you speak more to that and what you've seen in as far as early returns and
when is it ready? Like, when can we have the AI phones?
Well, that all is going to get launched in November,
right?
In terms of Apple and this is like another one, right? Like, because the haters, the last $100 of Apple's stock moved, it's just like, they're just hating it, right? Like, hate it 130, despise it 150, absolutely hate it 200.
So good.
So I just keep explaining, like, you have 300 million iPhones in the world that haven't upgraded in 4 years.
Yeah.
2 years ago, you had 120.
I'm one of them.
2 years ago, you had 120 million. 99.3% of people in the world, once they have an Apple device, stay. That it's just, they don't leave.
What an incredible stat for this company. 99% retention rate.
So, and they've gained 100 million Android users over the last 18 months.
That's right.
So my whole point is when we're in Asia 2 times in the last 6 weeks, and we see Apple builds continue to increase. That's Apple's view that like this demand's going to be stronger and stronger. Yep. Then you look right now at everyone trying to like do mathematical gymnastics on like pre-orders, this bill. It comes down to like, this is all about holiday season. Apple Intelligence is going to get rolled out in December. You're going to need iPhone 15 or higher for it.
Yeah.
Then more is going to get rolled out in February, March.
Yep.
The promotions are ridiculous, especially in the US. China, we think Baidu will ultimately be the partner on Apple Intelligence within Apple. So you put it together. It's another example. You talk about spends like macro and getting caught up. If you got caught up in every negative iPhone data point the last 3 years, 4 years, you'd miss the 1 trillion to 3.5 trillion move. So I think it's just focused on like what we see, where this is all going. Services continues to be strong, and I think this will be over 240 million iPhone unit year.
I love that. So
I mean, yeah.
I think we have to talk about like what does the antitrust landscape look like for Apple and the others 5-10 years out? I mean, does this go on forever and ever and ever, and we keep letting them get bigger? I understand. I hear arguments that they have to be broken up. They'll be more valuable if they're broken up. If they were broken up going into this AI revolution right now, would they be able to have invested this heavily in AI?
No,
Right?
and guess who would be laughing with a glass of
China.
That would be
Right.
the best thing that could ever happen.
Does the government, do regulators understand this dynamic?
Not real, like, you know, it's like, and I spent a lot of time in DC talking to like people on the Hill and this. But there's such a view like big tech bad, gotta break it up, big tech bad. Now again, some of the stuff like on like the DOJ, Apple, the Google, like I'm not saying that there's not gonna be like business model tweaks. But the reality is that as Microsoft showed with antitrust when I covered them in the 90s and ultimately won that case,
Right.
the precedent's there. What I'm saying is like a breakup. I never truly see breakups happening in big tech.
Okay. Well,
Uh,
that's great for big tech investors, I think.
But you're gonna have every day, wake up, have your cone of coffee, and you'll have headlines and antitrust EU, this antitrust, you know, like whatever. It's the nature of it.
Yep. You want to hit some of these questions in the chat, Spencer? I know.
Yeah. I just have one more, which is like, what about like a future where all the mega cap techs are competing with each other in a zero sum game? Like a rising tide lifted all ships, but now you got Meta doing hardware. That's Apple's territory, right? They're all competing and streaming against each other at the same time. So is it going to be like a zero sum game going forward, where what's good for Meta is bad for Apple, what's good for Apple is bad for Amazon?
Yeah,
right?
I view it as like maybe like 3 to 5 years. But for the next like 2 to 3, you're talking $1 trillion incremental capex. So it's like you have like it's an ocean big enough for 10 boats. Now, at one point, no doubt, like chip, you'll start to see, but you'll have winners, losers. You have do they partner? Like you will start to have competition even as they start to ultimately make their own chips. AMD will start to come Lisa soon. But in terms of like the zero sum game, that's more what you're talking about is more like that longer term view. But in the next few years, it's kind of like an autobahn when it comes to the opportunity.
And also, like when it comes, I don't know how this works for zero sum or non-zero sum. It might be zero sum between Google or in this case Meta versus Apple, but whoever makes the next great piece of hardware or software, then there's knockoff effects and productivity
the
gains
other ones will figure it out.
But that's how Palantir goes from a 12-year-old to what could be a senior citizen as a stock.
Right.
Like,
let's talk about that.
No, but what I'm trying to explain is like you're gonna have many names like that.
Right.
That all of a sudden.
Right. So, okay, so talk about this. It's not just the big techs, but also we should see like a boom in margin growth pretty much across
second, third, fourth derivatives.
Because energy companies, gold mines,
because
right?
of
like,
all the software, utilities, and that to me, like that is like right now. Okay, New York City cab drivers bullish in NVIDIA.
Logistics, right.
Yeah, even though bearish post-quarter, whatever, but now bullish. The point is like, to me, it's about the big focus in 25, identifying second, third, fourth derivatives of AI.
Love that.
Okay.
So you guys are probably doing a ton of work around this right now.
That's all we're doing, dude. Because the point is that I'm not like, to me, like it's trying to find like the next Palantirs.
Yeah.
The next, it's trying to understand like where everything is heading. And I always tell people like a lot of the bears with their DCF spreadsheets, they can't find AI in the 20th floor of the New York City office building or in the Metro North.
Right.
So the point is like it's hard. They don't see it. can't find the AI.
Not tangible. Yeah.
But that's why like 3 million miles flown last 20 years, like you see it, right? So the point is, like, I think it's like it gives an advantage seeing things globally instead of just, because as we always say, like haters hate, right?
Yep. Thank God we have them. Do you want to just expand a little bit? There have been a ton of questions about your thoughts on Palantir. Do you like this one as much as we do?
The Messi of AI, right? I mean, to me, like Carp is Mount
Messi
Rushmore.
of AI.
It's the
Love it.
Mount Rushmore of AI when you look from
Wow.
from Godfather of AI, Jensen, to Nadella, to McDermott, to what I view as Carp. I think AIP changes the whole story. I mean, when it comes to use cases, I could argue it's probably one of the purest play use case names out there.
Yep.
And as they transform from still strong government, less government, to more enterprise, more U.S. commercial,
Totally.
AIP, and this goes back to like, now if you're a Barry, like, 20 times revs, they'd have. No, I disagree. Like, what could free cash flow be in the next 3 to 4 years?
Right.
This is no different than the argument with Salesforce.com that we would always have, be like, it's 20 times rev. Then all of a sudden, earnings, free cash, bam, bam, bam. The whole thing gets readjusted because you start trading actually off of free cash flow growth and some of the parts.
The way I look at it, I mean, what a nice core business that they have that they started with the government, right? And that tends to be pretty sticky revenue. And now they're, like you said, hitting up more private sector revenues, and there's a ton of growth opportunities.
But AIP is the game change within the AI revolution.
What are you
AIP
calling
is
it?
the magic.
AIP?
Their
AI,
product,
intellectual property.
their AIP product, their foundational product on AI.
And this like helps find terrorists and stuff.
No, that's on the government. This is on enterprise. This is like when you talk about use cases.
Got it.
This is what changes the game.
That's awesome. Another good question. If you had to pick one of these AI winners for the next 5 years, obnoxious question, but
Dan probably hates this question.
I mean, to me, it's Microsoft just because they own the enterprise. And if you look where Copilot and Azure growth's going from a hyperscale perspective, to me, that continues to be the game changer.
Awesome.
All right. This was amazing. Dan Ives, thank you so much for
no, thanks for having me,
this
Matt.
morning.
And look, it's just great. Like, it's a super exciting time in terms of where we are. And I'm not saying you're gonna have sell-offs,
right.
but I don't know. That's where I view it.
Dan, I enjoyed this so much. We would love to have you back anytime. The chat loved it too, obviously.
I loved it. Thanks, Dan.
See you guys.
Bye. So good. We're on here talking about charts all the time, every day. Charts. Have somebody like this come on and just school us about what's really happening out there. They're some of the smartest people I know on Wall Street, hedge fund managers, right, are talking about this AI revolution. They're talking about it like it's not just like a big deal like the next revolution. Like it's the biggest revolution that we've ever had from a productivity standpoint in U.S. history. Yes. People are talking about China taking Taiwan. Like you heard what Dan just said. Maybe they do. They probably do. But AI stocks are probably still
They've been saying that for like 30 years, so I don't know.
I love the big picture stuff. I love what he said about the multiplier. Can you imagine 8, 9, 10x? That's for every dollar spent buying an NVIDIA chip. That is the, GDP growth, right? Or productivity growth.
Yeah.
10 more dollars, right? Wow. This is
we-
all happening right now.
Okay, so this happens every time that I talk to someone who is super knowledgeable about this stuff, whether it's Dan Ives or whether it's Gene Munster, whomever, and I'm seeing in the chat too, in the acknowledgement, they make us all super bullish, and that's great and all, and I like being bullish, and I own a lot of these things that we're talking about. I own them already, but I can't help but think, okay, how could this be wrong, right? Like it's always helpful, and that's like my natural personality to be like devil's advocate. Like I'm always thinking, how could I be wrong? What would have to happen? And I was trying to think about that and I guess I should have asked Dan, but I didn't. How could I be wrong? Antitrust is probably the top of mind, right? That's kind of the first thing that comes to mind. But I'm curious what everyone else is.
Yeah, sorry.
Right in the chat, like what do you think? Like Dan is super knows way more about this stuff than we do, and he's been right and it's been beneficial to everyone that's long tech, which is pretty much everyone, right? But how could this be wrong? I think is a good exercise.
Dude, all I can say, I loved his comments about antitrust. Government better not fuck this up. Really? I mean,
and also, wouldn't it take like a decade for it to shake out? Like knowing how fast things move over there, or not fast?
yeah, it would be.
Like, wouldn't a breakup take like a long freaking time? Like the FTC, the FTC has been working on, and there's cases in the FTC and the DOJ, right, against Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, or Google, and they've already been going on for like 4 years at this point, right? So this stuff takes a long time.
The way you want to think about it is these aren't just the smartest and most innovative enterprises in the world. They're absolute monsters. They're governments in their own right. They're huge, right? And they work for us.
Yeah.
You want to break them up, right? You want to weaken the strongest ones. These guys are like world dominators. Apple, Microsoft's, Google's of the world.
Right. The only other thing I can think about, and which is why I asked him, is kind of the zero sum thing, right? But his answer, which is like they'll figure it out, right? Like there will be like effects, cause and effects of someone does something, and then the other ones will figure it out and figure out how to profit off of it. But
they're not making like watches, right, or like jewelry. They're making productive goods and services. So then you have that knock-on effect. I know there's some sort of like economic theory. I'm probably not describing this right. But it's not like you're going out and like buying a luxury good that you wear on your body or something, or buying a movie, right, that you watch. But they're buying productive goods and services that then go and fuel more growth.
Right. That's new categories. That's the thing. Nobody thought wearables was like a thing. Like the Apple Watch was like, people laughed at that. Oh, well, you're gonna talk when you want to this, right? Like we all have one, right? We all have AirPods. We all have Apple Watches. So
one hole's making this is always an argument here. This is a tired argument. If they didn't break up AT&T, we wouldn't have Google. AT&T was never Microsoft, right? They were hanging up phone lines all around the country. Not really an innovator. So I don't know.
Google made probably the best M&A deal of all time. With the actually probably two of them, right? With the YouTube and with DoubleClick, right? That's what,
there's just looking at some of the comments in the chat. People are frustrated with a lot of these AI services so far, and I get it. We are frustrated here at All Star Charts too. We play with all the new toys. We try to help our friends who are building these things, especially some of these financial products. The chat bots. You're right, Josh. They're super weak right now. There are a couple really good ones. Shout out Quarter. We use that one. But this stuff takes time.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, we're not there yet.
The Vision Pro's heavy, of course. It's not going to be perfect yet, right? Like give them time. They just started.
We're not there yet. I love those graphics every quarter when people say, "Oh man, Apple makes more revenue from AirPods than Netflix makes from Netflix," right? Like it's always fun to look at the sheer size of these companies, right?
Spencer, shout out David Schulhoff of the MUSQ ETF.
Yeah.
Some of his top holdings here. Tencent up 9% today. Tencent Music Entertainment up over 20% today. That would be almost 40% on the week. Look at these weekly candles and some of these Chinese tech stocks. Holy cow. TME came right back down to support the base breakout level, tagged it around 950, and has absolutely rocketed off of it over the past week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have that TME chart? Can we throw up the Tencent? I tweeted the Tencent yesterday.
So wait, is this just a case of like the Chinese like confirmed the thing from the other day? They just confirmed yes, stimulus. Is that why we're rocketing up again? This because that's all I saw overnight was they met and they're like, oh, yeah, we're doing it, guys. Like, but they said that 2 days ago, so I don't really know. I think that's just that's the headline. So now we got everything gapping up this morning again.
I was telling the guys we're doing a special report on Southeast Asia. I'm like, guys, I mean, we don't have to rush this report out the door. I mean, look at how extended these stocks are. I even said yesterday, I'm like, listen, they can rip again tomorrow. This is China. You never know. And
Billy Cunningham, congratulations, Billy. All right, Billy's having himself a day.
what did Billy say?
That is one of his top 5 most profitable days of his career. He's been trading 22 years. Good, Billy, good. Well, you're ahead, man.
We probably should have talked more about this, Spencer. Southeast Asia, these guys all moved together. And it started to get really strange if you were looking at a chart of Thailand, if we have these charts, if we're looking at a chart of Thailand or Malaysia or the Philippines or Indonesia, looking at all these charts making fresh cycle highs. They've looked incredible for many months now, some all year, like in the case of the Philippines or Malaysia. And then you look at China trading down here around, new lows or whatever, and you're like, this doesn't make sense. All of Southeast Asia is working and China's not. That's strange. So now this China catch up this week, this is, JC keeps talking about it. We are momentum thrusting, short-term momentum thrust. And I look at this action from China as confirmation for the strength in the other emerging market countries in Southeast Asia. Like, this is monster confirmation. Those aren't charts that I would want to be buying ever if China wasn't participating. China's that important to this region of the world. It's the driver. So now that China's on board, I like Malaysia, I like the Philippines, I like Indonesia, I like Thailand. Let's go. Vietnam's going to play some sweet catch up. We're going to be talking about these countries and stocks from these countries a lot in the coming months and quarters. We already have. We've been front running, these monster-based breakouts and things like Coupang, SE. We've been talking about the BABA. BABA looks great now. Do we have the primary trend reversal in Tencent? This chart looks so good. I could pull it again. Hold on.
Good. I like to hear you say that, Steve, because a lot of people are looking at the K-Web this week or the BABA, and they're looking shit. Left the station and I'm still on the platform, right?
Dude, get involved and either make your own basket. We're going to do a little report on building baskets, Spencer. I think it's just such a good topic, how to build a basket. But either build your own basket of your favorite ones, anchor it with some blue chips, make sure like BABA and Tencent, stuff like that. I think Baidu belongs in there too, even though the chart still looks kind of shit. If you zoom out enough on Baidu, it looks like a massive decade-long fail top though. TME, right? Sprinkle in some of the sketchier names, sprinkle in some non-China exposure. You got your SE, your Coupang. We're going to build such a great basket.
I'm just looking at these charts this morning. I mean, like the TAL. What's TAL? TL is up 22% today. This company was basically a zero.
Until it wasn't. But yeah,
right.
Totally.
Yeah.
TAL.
Jeez, crazy, man. What a day.
Yeah, when they go, they go.
When
China,
they go.
Look out now.
My favorite saying, or one of them, is there's nothing like price to change sentiment, because I've always said to myself, really, I was scarred from what happened to these names a few years back, because I was long for several years. I was long the K-Web, and then the government came and kneecapped it, and that was the end of that fun. And I said, all right, I'm swearing off China never again. But now here I am this morning, and I'm like, oh my God. So Vietnam is interesting to me, right? South Korea is interesting to me, right?
Dude, Nam's coming. There's a huge catch-up trade brewing in Nam right now.
Yeah. God damn.
That's probably the one you want to buy. You look at some of these other ones. I mean, we haven't seen momentum this overcooked in a long time, many years.
Show me VinFast Auto. Let's go. No position yet.
Another one I like is the VIPs, the VIP shops, VIPS. That's ripping today too. I mean, look.
Yeah.
The Got You. Kenny likes the Got You. That's 22%. I mean,
that one's still around. Wow. Hey, whatever happened to Weibo, WB? Yeah, look at that thing.
Isn't that Twitter, Spencer?
Yeah, it's very confusing to keep straight in your head, but yeah, Weibo is like the Chinese Twitter, but
isn't there another one like WW or
no, there was Sina, remember SINA, but then Weibo
Sina.
I think Weibo bought them, I think is what happened. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't keep them straight in my head anymore. Again, I used to be so long because it was a demographics play, right? It was all about the demographics, and
then they lied to us, and then it turns out they lied to us. Now they're bad demographics.
Damn, what a mess.
these
Oh man, I got burned so bad. I don't want to talk about it. All right.
next country that people are going to get burned on like this.
Yeah.
India, I think it's very clear. Nobody can see it coming somehow. Oh my. The fund flows into India are so overdone. And all of that money that's flowing into China and is going to keep flowing into China, a good amount of it is going to be coming out of India. Wait for it. Because emerging market fund managers, just like any asset managers, will chase performance, and they're going to start chasing China and their source of funds, just like we saw the source of funds this summer was big cap tech, right? Their source of funds, if you're an emerging markets manager, is going to be India because you own way too much of it. And it's been really, really good for a really long time now. They're going to take profits from India, they're going to pour them back into China, and then you're going to see that spread widen again back in favor of China having a heavier weighting in EM, because I don't think India ever deserved to be this high. But there was nowhere else to go, right? That's market mechanics. They were the only game in town, India. So they got bought a lot. And as soon as they stop being the only game in town and there's 10 other fucking options for fund managers, that money's coming out. It doesn't matter how good they are.
That's a lesson we also learned with the pot stocks. It's not their fault they're the only game in town, but very often the first ones through the door get shot. Right. And so they get bid up, huge, crazy multiples, not their fault. There's nowhere else to go if you're bullish. And now they're never going to make it back there. Right. And it's not, again, that's just the market being, that's just how it works. Right. So it happens. Right. The market gets ahead of itself. And
yeah.
All right. Should we bring on Mary?
You want to bring Sean on?
Sean's not here. We have Mary.
You know, we didn't have a bad storm where I am, but we're getting like, you know, I guess the outer edges of the storm. My cat's going crazy. My doors to my office keep swinging open. We got some really strong winds out here.
It's supposed to be bad. It's past you. I thought it's supposed to be pretty bad in Appalachia. I thought now that's the path of the storm. Yeah, like Georgia and that area.
It hit a lot higher up than I think it was supposed to. Just from what do you call that thing? I'll be right back.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna bring on Mary. What up?
Good morning, Spencer.
How we doing?
We're doing well, thank you. And yourself?
Are you in as good a mood as like the chat here? Everyone's printing today, so everyone's.
Yeah, you know, I'm watching the chat as I was waiting in the green room. I'm like, oh, I'm so happy for these guys having such awesome days. I am not having one of those. It's not that I'm having a fine day. I'm just not having that kind of day, and I'm kicking myself because we were talking about China last week during Portfolio Accelerator, and we were talking specifically BABA. And I remember pulling Steve aside with the TME chart, the 10-cent music, and I said, Steve, what do you think about this? You know, if we're looking at China, this was kind of one of our early winners in, that kind of space. And so I've got it on my watch list. Did I take any position? Of course not, because I was just waiting for things to kind of shake out and see where it goes. Like Steve said, thought I had time. So I missed it.
You never know with these China stocks. I think in that same conversation, Mary, I told you I got stopped out of TME, whatever, a few weeks, maybe months ago at this point. So yesterday, saw the momentum thrust from Monday, and I said, I got to get back into some of this stuff, but I bought little piker positions thinking I'll have more time to keep scaling in. But the reason why I bought some was because you never know with China. They're up 10% one day, 20% the next. They trade like Bitcoin miners.
Exactly. So that's why I'm watching the Bitcoin space today, because if China's doing this, Bitcoin, I mean, we're risk on, right? And you don't get much more risky besides China and the cryptos. So, and we were talking about this. I remember at Kingston Mines, what was that, Thursday night? Yeah. I'm, elbowing JC and like, JC, we're at 64K. That's the anchored VWAP from the highs. Like, let's go, when moon, right? And so, it's so clean. Yeah. So this is front of my attention right now because I've missed the China move. I'm going to be looking for pullbacks. BABA, gosh, I've been burned on that one so many times here in the last year. So I, waiting, kind of getting involved just because I think the move's coming, but then then doesn't, and now I've missed it. So now I'm looking. Go ahead.
No, I'm so ready for it, and I think Mary, you absolutely nailed it. That's kind of like what I was saying to JC about. How much really should we weigh into market? Because a lot of a lot of my bullish evidence for getting, I was up laying in bed from like 3 to 5. Rose eventually kicked me out, clacking around. I added like
her.
6 new altcoins. I was adding to some old altcoins. I like adding to Solana. I like to do it in the middle of the night. That's like my crypto time. But and I'm sitting here saying, like, why did I do that? The charts don't look quite ready. I feel like I'm jumping some entries here. Look at everything else that's happening. China, come on. Like that,
Right.
we already had the most heavily shorted stocks doing really well. The ARKI stuff, the speculative growth stuff has been doing well, right? Like the beaten down names, that's all really good, really risk on stuff. Other pro-cyclical stuff. Now we have the riskiest stocks around the world, and China doing this. This is Bitcoin's time.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. So for me, it's been that 63.5, 64 level because it's where the anchored VWAP comes in from the highs from earlier in the year. And I'm going to kind of wait and see how the day closes. You know, we got a whole day of market trading going on still. So, but you know, MSTR, that one looks still so good. And that one's trading now above its anchored high VWAP from earlier in the year. So I'm going to be going through all my Bitcoin miners and looking at charts today. That's kind of my plan of how I'm attacking the day. And
love it.
Yeah.
So, some of them, Mary, really haven't moved. You know,
right.
if you look
and
at
that's very telling.
Even Coinbase, like Coinbase is coiled up, sitting here, like dare me to fail this top. Some of these look really good.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where my head is at. I did get involved in SE. So, you know, coming back from Portfolio Accelerator, love this base. It's, you know, one of those bases that I love to look for and love to buy. And so I think we brought that chart along, maybe not. But great base there. So I got involved there. Just, you know, not getting the same kind of move out of SE today as.
Well, look, it's been moving. So we got involved in this one coming off of the cycle lows back in February. What is going on with the audio?
No, we're good.
Okay. In the 40s. And back then, when we were talking about it to hot corner clients, Sean put an options trade on it back then. We were saying, this is a trade. Well, you know, we think a base is going to shape up here. You can't see it right now, but we were drawing it like this back then, early this year. We were saying, eventually, we're going to like it so much more at 90. I know it's a long way away. It got there pretty quick, but now we're there. Like, this is textbook. Now this is new uptrend. Path of least resistance is now higher.
Yep, exactly. So you've got that 90 level. You've also got that VWAP anchored from the highs. So there's a nice area that you can define risk. And, you know, if we're wrong, we're wrong, but we're going to not take too much of a loss if we are. But if, you know, Asia and China are going to be doing what they're doing, this probably goes too.
I mean, even people keep shouting out Freeport and Southern Copper Co. This is very much a China trade as well. Another big move, huge move today. Freeport is now up 15% this week.
Jeez. Yeah, that's
the Bulls have scored some crazy points since last week.
Yeah, precious metals also looking fantastic. I've been continuing to add to those positions that I started earlier in the year. And what's that?
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I just continue to add to the precious metal positions, both gold and silver, and they have been really great plays all year, really, buying back when I started.
Are you building your own basket? Are you building your own basket?
I am. Yeah. Yes, I've got a number of different juniors and minors and, you know, the junky stuff, because that's what I like.
We talked about this at Portfolio Accelerator, but this is really like one of like the tech, like the best, like classic example of an industry group where you don't want to try to pick one winner. They have problems with mines. You know, their CEOs get in trouble for like harassing the secretaries at these companies. Like there's always something, like there's something going on. They're getting like in trouble in some like jurisdiction in like Latin America because they're not supposed to be mining there. Or they're hurting the environment. Like there's always something.
We talked about this. We talked about this came up yesterday as well. It's yeah, exactly right. Right. The basket approach in this, not every group, right? But in this group, probably the way to go. Just
the basket. Dude, we like silver so much. We put a trade on First Majestic, which is one of the highest beta, one of the most levered plays in the precious metal space. We're looking for a really short-term like reaction move out of a little flag. And then we were like, we're looking at this chart of silver, and we're like, we need something on a longer time frame. This is so good. We're coming out of the multi-year base. Gold has rallied 30% since the time it came out of a similar pattern back in March. That means silver's probably going to give us 40-50% on its leg up out of here. So we went out even further. We put another one on another silver miner that gives us more time. It's going to give us really 3-4 months. So
Yeah, and I love that those trades came out because those are part of my basket, and so that's always when I feel like, oh, I'm making good choices because Steve's picking these trades and adding.
I'm so
adding those in.
bullish on basket building, Mary. I think we're going to write
Me
about
too.
it. Talk about.
I can't wait to wait to read about that. And are you building a basket for China or AI? Because I heard you guys talking about the AI stuff earlier with
What a basket for baskets.
I think
basket
we'll
of
use.
baskets.
I think
I
we'll
think
use
that's SPY
Southeast
and
Asia.
Qs, right?
We'll use like emerging Asia as an example.
Okay.
How to build a basket of Asian stocks.
Ooh, I look forward to that. Sounds good.
Speaking of silver trade just went out this morning to all you Breakout Multiplier members. You should have gotten that email a little while back before the open. So check that out. A lot going on here. Let's talk. Let's do some recess, shall we?
Yeah, let's hit it.
All right. Where should we start? Mary, you have a picture, pretty picture.
I brought a picture, yes. So this is when I got back from Chicago. My dahlias that I planted. So you guys have talked to you all the time about my flowers. They were overflowing, and so this was one of the beauties that was waiting for me when I got home. It's about it's a big old flower. It's I think the name is the Penhill Dark Monarch or something like that. But we talked about this at Portfolio Accelerator. You need a happy space or a kind of zen thing that you do when you are trading. And so I plant flowers, and I have something blooming in my yard all season long. And so right now it's the dahlias, and I just go out there and they just make me so happy. And I think it's because the color most of the year is dark and gray, cold, suck of winter. And so this makes me happy. So I'm looking for a new hobby because come freeze, the dahlias will die, everything will die, and I'm not going to have my zen place anymore. So yeah, this is where I go find my calm during the day, during work. I'll just, when things get hectic or the market's going down, I get up and I walk around and I look at my flowers. And
can I recommend knitting? I hear that helps.
I've tried that. Maybe I'll look into that, but I need some sort of new zen, something or other here soon.
I love how much you love flowers. I always love seeing your flower pictures. I think flowers are just good juju. We try to have like a fresh bouquet in our kitchen at all times. I think it's just good to have in the house. Pretty things.
Yep. Pretty things.
Vibes.
Yep, exactly.
Speaking of zen and being in good moods, the reason why I'm probably in a better mood in the spring and in the fall, and like right now, for example, is because the weather is cooperative for me to open my windows. And I just want to say I'm a big advocate for open the damn windows in your house. You leave them open overnight. You wake up, you just smell the fresh air in there.
Yeah,
right? It's not stale, it's just fresh. And you it's great. It gets my like endorphins going, right? So
great.
I just want to say, huge advocate. Open your windows. I'll open them in the car. I love driving with open windows in the car, right? Just open your windows. That's my recess. Open your damn windows. Makes you feel good.
We should start a movement. I support this. # open the damn window.
Open the damn windows, man.
Yep.
Open the windows. Blinds can be closed. It's fine. Just open the windows.
Does it ever get cool down there in the Keys?
No.
It's just always air conditioning.
I love what Spencer's saying, but the number of days where we can comfortably open the windows and enjoy a cross breeze it's not often. And this time of year, it's never.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, my windows are open right now. I hear what you're laying down there, Spencer.
Open the windows, yeah, and then
open the damn windows.
It's gonna end here. I mean, maybe not as soon for me as for you, Mary, but it's gonna end in like maybe like a month or maybe 6 weeks, or it's gonna be a little bit too chilly. But for now, for September, for October, you got it. This is it. This is the time. So
with my flowers, yeah.
That's right.
Lazy Beats in the chat says Strazza is going to be rocking meta glasses on the golf course. I can't even wear sunglasses while I swing. With accessories, I'm one of these people. I was at the Apple store trying on the watches last week in Chicago, and I'm thinking to myself, I can't swing with this thing on my wrist. I'm like, can I put it on my belt? Like, I don't wear jewelry. I don't want anything on me. Like, I hate that stuff. Even like hats, I just wear a hat because my hair looks crazy in the morning. Like, I don't even want hats on my head. when I'm playing golf. That's why I wear a visor. Like, I don't want stuff on me, so I struggle.
You wear a visor?
I wear a visor.
Oh man! All right,
It's very golf pro like.
Ian Poulter.
All right, VJ.
No, full Ian Poulter on the
Okay.
golf course. I will say real quick. Throw up the picture. I was stuck in the Miami airport, and I've been wanting something new to go on the wall back here.
Is this an NFT?
No, this is an artist.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Carrie and Brett have multiple paintings from this artist. Just not
I
this
love
one.
him. I love him. I'll have to reach
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So this is Romero
This is
Brito.
fantastic.
He now big Miami guy. He's like a famous Miami guy. Like really big pop art scene down there or up there, really. And he's got his own little gallery in the airport now. And I had nothing to do. If you leave me in the airport for too long, I'm spending all my money. It's like I have such a problem. So I'm shopping and I'm like, oh my God, everybody has these scary pictures of bulls in their offices. And like people I know, you go to your boss's office on Wall Street, who's got some big scary bull. I want my bull surrounded by an aura of hearts and dollars. Like this
And colorful.
bull market bull. This is my kind of bull. I saw this. I'm like, gotta get it done. Like his artwork's beautiful though. So shout out Romero Brito, Miami.
Brito, yep.
Cool. That's fun.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm with you, Steve.
Right.
What's today? Today's Thursday, right? We got Breakout Multiplier weekly session for those folks there. Would you chart request live at 1:00 as well? And that's the deal. So thanks to our guests. Thanks to Mary. Thanks to Dan Ives. Thanks to the chat hanging out. Today was a fun one. I mean, they're all fun, but today was a nice jovial. Everyone's in a good mood. Market's going up. What's not to love? We'll see you guys tomorrow. All right. And how about that? Go make some money.
YOLO responsibly.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs.